It's your weekly breakaway for fun conversations on pro cycling. Come and join us for another ride in the team bus. I'm Matt Harper, and together with my brother Justin, we'll do deep-ish dives on professional bike races, teams, riders, and all sorts of cycling-related stories. And we might just sprinkle in some other shiny pop cultural objects along the way. So jump in the saddle and tighten up those shoes. The road awaits. Allez!
Hello and welcome to the Team Bus. I'm Justin and this is my brother Matt, and today on the bus, opening weekend is done and dusted. In the biggest races of the weekend, women's and men's Omloop Nieuwsblad, we got two winners who were utterly unsurprising, both simply confirmations of form that we were already pretty confident of. However, the weekend also gave us some other confirmations, where two very young riders who had announced themselves to the Pro Peloton last year confirmed that they are ready for the big time, each taking arguably the biggest wins of their careers thus far. Yes, the season proper is underway, and we are excited. We'll discuss all that and more today, and as always, we'll finish up with a cobbled climb up the mirror in the Broom Wagon. Allez. Welcome to the show, everybody. We have a lot to cover, so we're gonna jump right into it. Why don't we go ahead and just start with the two big races, and then just kind of work our way through the rest.
Sounds good. We'll take them in chronological order, men's then women's, since that was the order that they went off.
Yes, yeah, we could do that. So that would be the Omloop Nieuwsblad. So where do you want to start?
Well, a little setup there. Van der Poel was here for the first time. He has not, or I should say, well, I don't know if he's raced it before, but he's not won this race before. So this is a big box that he was looking to check. He also had Pidcock, Paul Magnier, Philipsen as the Van der Poel backup plan. So some names here for sure.
And Magnier came in second last year. So last year we had Soren Warrenskold, who took first place for Uno X. We had Paul Magnier, and then Philipsen came in third.
Yeah. So super, it's just so nice to see him out there riding on the cobbles, and and it was nice that there were some decent live stream for this, or maybe I'm thinking of the other one, Kuurne.
Well, Kuurne was on Max.
That's right. Yeah. This
one. So I ended up watching it. I think I even texted you on Saturday morning because I wasn't sure if you were going to watch it live, but I ended up on a YouTube feed through Tiz. So I had a pretty, great experience with it, and with a little less so with the women's race. I can't remember. I just ended up on Tiz for that one, but
yeah, I was watching that feed, but I had to take one of the kids to her dance lesson, literally with 3 kilometers left to go in the race. But I knew I would be right back in 30 minutes. So I just pressed pause, hoping that it would just sit there for me for 30 minutes, and then I could just kind of pick it up when I got back. And when I came back and pressed pause again, it immediately I was in the middle of the women's race, and I'm like, well, damn. I mean, by that point we already knew who was going to win.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that big of a deal, but I had to go back and actually watch the very, very end, although there wasn't a whole lot to see at that point.
No, I mean,
but yeah, that was nice that YouTube based live stream was there.
Yeah, it was. So it, I watched most of it, but I mean, more or less, it comes down into the last 50K. At 50K, you still had a breakaway with Kiersen from Jayco, Renard from Cofidis, Van Hummelen from Team Flanders Balois, and Alexis Brunel from Total Energies. But as soon as it started to get tough going up that cobbled climb, one Mathieu van der Poel decided to take matters into his own hands and do Matthew Vanderpool things and ride everybody right off the front.
Yeah, it should be pointed out that this race and the women's honestly was characterized by a number of crashes. Ultimately, I don't think that they played too much into the the finals, but there was a lot of crashes. The one that could have been disastrous here was they were going up the Molenberg with 45 kilometers to go. Vermeersch, who animated a lot of this race, Florian Vermeersch from UAE was leading up the Molenberg, and there was a guy from Tudor like right behind him, and then right behind that guy was Vanderpool, and the Tudor dude, his wheels slipped. It was not rainy, but it was definitely damp
Yeah,
throughout
slick.
this course. Like lots of those climbs, they had no choice but to do seated because like they would have been slipping if they were out of the saddle. Um, Vanderpool, I mean, this guy, his bike handling is just next level. The dude comes down
You
right in
saw
front
that,
of him.
yeah.
And if you pause, like there's a moment where Vanderpool is like at a 45-degree angle, like literally with the guy underneath him. And he just like casually pops his foot out, rights himself, and keeps right on flying up
That's
that
the
climb.
cyclocross thing right there. Like it absolutely benefits him doing cyclocross on for these cobbled races because you have an exact moment like this where it could be chaos and disaster, and he just is completely calm, cool, collected, and moves right on. It doesn't even phase him.
Yeah, just about any other rider would have been taken out by that crash.
Hmm.
He's just, on another level. I mean, we talked before too about how he's got this just like unnatural ability to avoid crashes, just time and time again. He, everybody's crashing around him, and he just maintains. I mean, you can just look back at so many races.
Oh,
Look
he's
back at
also the other.
Paris-Roubaix last year.
He's also the guy that can, essentially slap shot water bottles off the course. So
Yeah, yeah, it's
he can play
crazy.
hockey on a bike.
I love the one shot of him taking that water bottle. Did you catch that where they showed it again in slow-mo where he like reaches out and you see his arm, like he grabs it and you see his arm go all the way back behind him. Like they must have been going really quick, but it's like, you gotta, it's like if you're too stiff, you're gonna hurt yourself, if you're going that fast. And he knows, just like boom, just like swings way back, brings it back. I mean, he's just perfect execution. He's a guy who came out of the womb on a bike and is just he's I was noticing like as he was going up, like I think the final climb of the Mur, um just his physiology, like his body is just so perfect. It is just an absolute machine. He looks so good on a bike. Just like, I mean, it really seems like there's nothing that guy can't do when it comes to one day racing. He's just an absolute animal.
Yeah, he is. I don't know. He's something else. So
I mean, there was another moment in this race where he like overcooked a left turn, and was like basically like into a flower patch or something like that on the side of the road with like fans literally like 1 foot away from him. He's just like, "Meh, whatever, no big deal.
yeah.
I'll ride off the course."
Um. So he is he's essentially goes off the front with the one of the Van Dyke twins in Valerian Vermeersch and takes them essentially to what, just under 20K, and then he launches and leaves them two behind. And it's just it's a matter of he gets 40ish seconds on these guys, and they never stand a chance in catching back up to him because his pace is so unbelievably relentless once he gets into these moves that it's just like there's no chance you're going to catch him when he
Yeah,
when
he's
he
got
really
he's got
goes.
so much power. I mean, the
Yeah.
power is just crazy. I mean, like I said, they were seated on all these climbs because of the slickness, and like he basically made it happen at the, I think he probably chose chose when he could go and bury them, and he waits until the iconic Capel climb that's got the church at the top, and just like down in the lower end of the climb, he just like boom, cranks up the power, cranks up the wattage, and just rides away from Van Dyke and Vermeersch.
Which is very
he's,
similar to another race that I cannot wait to get into.
I'm sure. And he goes solo past the church, gets all the perfect photographs
Yep.
there, and his gap balloons up to like 32 seconds in short order.
Yeah.
So
Did you catch his interview at the end?
I did.
He is so unfazed. Like that dude is the coolest cucumber in the bunch. I mean, unbelievable. And when they asked him about whether he was going to race tomorrow, and he's like, "I'm not sure. We haven't even really talked about it."
Yeah, and then Anders was like, "So you gonna have frites and mayo tonight?" And he just chuckled. He was like, "No, I'll be at the hotel eating whatever the chef puts up in front of us." So some other notables in the top 10 here. Laporte hung in there for fourth. He was an animator this weekend for sure. Anderson, Tobias Lund Anderson got sixth. Jordi Mayos was in seventh to give Red Bull 2-7 because what's his name? Van Dyke, Tim Van Dyke took second. Anthony Torgis took eighth, and Luke Lamperti had himself one hell of a little weekend here, sliding in for 10th, and he's about the only bright spot on EF right now, it seems like.
Yeah, so, he seems to be the only one that's doing anything of note.
Well, unfortunately, Palace is out right now, and he's their other like reliable classics guy. So hopefully Ben Healy will come into his own. Come when he gets into some stage races, but
he may contend in the climb year stuff. In the climb year, like I don't know if his I'd have to look on PCS if his schedule includes any of the big ones, but I mean, like he could maybe do some damage in a Tour of Flanders or something.
I would have to imagine that he will be doing some of these stage races coming up here. I'm going to tell you right now what he's got coming up. He's doing Strade, then he's doing Tirreno Adriatico, he's doing Basque Country, and then the Ardennes, Amstel Gold, Flèche Wallonne, and LBL.
Yeah, those all make sense.
So yeah, we'd love to see him get a big result in one of those. That is for sure.
You have anything else on that one in particular?
No, I don't think so. No surprise there. Van der Poel checks another big box.
You get points on the board. By the way,
for sure. Did you update the thing? We both did pretty well this week. Well,
yeah,
I was like,
on the break, I will grab before we go into the new stuff. I will grab the exact totals of where we're at right now. But yeah, we both ended up putting some points on the board. I did. I won't. Well, let's get into the third. Let's get into the third. This is the next race because I was able to negate your Matthew Van der Poel win. Which, watching the original one, I was like, God. Watching it before the women's race, I'm like, oh, dude, his picks are so solid. Like, if he's got Van der Poel on the field, like it's almost guaranteed points.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I still think I'm so glad we did it. Like, it's definitely adds a lot to the racing and makes some of these wins where normally we'd be like wah, same old boring whatever, like makes it just a little bit more fun. Like if
it gives you something to grab onto.
Right.
Now I will say, did you like how I put the riders that we had contending at the top so you knew who was where? Yeah.
Please feel free to do that.
Yeah.
Every week. Yeah.
Well, since it's only World Tour races, it's pretty easy to figure it out. So.
Yeah.
All right. So on to the women's edition of Omloop Nieuwsblad. Last year we had a 1-2-3 with a lot of class, Arella Nurlo and Demi Vollering, and it ended up being a little different this year. Not
what
Sorry.
What one of the great names of the pro peloton. A lot of class.
Yes.
Did you watch? Did you? I happened to catch the finish of that race, like just goofing around
Mm-mm.
from last year, and it was like Klaas and one other woman, whoever came second, and like the two of them were just locked together at the end of the race, and they were absolutely like just emptied both of them, and like it looked like Klaas was gonna get beat. She was so struggling to hold that woman's wheel, but she like played it perfectly. She somehow managed to get back on with like 200, 300 meters left in the race, and you could see her back there like gasping for breath, but she was in the slipstream, and it was just like that little bit that she got that was able to get her past the other woman. An impressive win. So she was taking the start today, as well as the aforementioned Vollering. You had Kasia Niewiadoma, I should say Kasia Niewiadoma Finney.
Yes.
A lot of Kopecky, my dark horse, 10th spot on my roster this year. Charlotta Cole, Anna van der Breggen, amongst many others.
Yeah. So I picked it up at 59K at a two-rider break with Britt DeGrave from City Mesh and Emily Fortin from Minimax. And they had 20 seconds to the peloton. We had Ajax in her Canadian champs jersey leading out bossing on the front for a little bit. And then it was just like like a who's who of racers that would kind of pop off the front and then would come back. So, at one point you had Elise Chabet and Burton, Gasparini, and Acebo off the front. They had 30 seconds on the peloton, and then they had 40 seconds, and then the gap started closing.
Yeah, SD Works was doing a lot of work right there, Van der Breggen, to pull that one back. And yeah, I mean the breakaway situation in this race really nothing really came to anything.
Well, no, because Vollering was in the chase group of that last like four rider group, and once she caught the front group, it was just, she just looked like she was above and beyond everybody. Maybe other than Cassia, but even with Cassia, like when they were going into it towards the end, it looked like she was just struggling to maintain.
Yeah, she was in that. Demi was in that chasing group, and they about 17 Ks to go. They hit the Mur van Gerardsbergen, which I believe is kind of the same. I think that climb and the one that Vanderpool made his move on, the Mur Kappelmer. I think they're kind of this. I think they're sort of the same thing. They might be like the same one from different sides or something. I need to look into that. But Demi, she knew that's where she was going to go. They were 15 seconds behind the small break at the start of that thing, and then she immediately attacks. She's got Franzi Koch, her teammate, with her. Cassia was there trying to hang, and a couple of others. And by the top of the climb, Demi and Cassia were by themselves.
Yeah. It's worth noting that, Kopecky had a mechanical. And
I think she got held up behind that
she got held up behind the crash. And so we don't know what we would have seen out of her, and she's definitely got a more classics focused training, and so it's a little disappointing to me that we didn't get to see a little more out of her. I was impressed with Lorena Wiebes, really held her own on some of those climbs to keep herself in contention for the podium, which I think surprised a few people. At least some of the pundits were surprised that she was able to maintain. But I think it just goes to show that she's got an incredible engine.
Yeah. Well, back on the Kopecky subject, she obviously had a terrible season last year. I picked her as a dark horse this year, my fantasy thing, just on the hopes that she's going to be back and ready for action. she was starting to last year. We did notice that she was like her body seems to be morphing just a little bit towards a little bit more like lithe, slightly like less muscly and more climbery, which I think will suit her well. She has got basically every big race of the spring on her calendar. I mean, she's doing Strade next weekend. She's doing Alfredo Binda. She's doing Nokara Curse, MSR, Dwarsdor, the Rwanda, Paris Roubaix, LBL. So she's going to be there. So we're gonna get a real good look at her
At her form.
at her abilities and her form this year. So excited for that.
So even with Vollering and Cassia out front, Chabe was still in that chasing group with Kat, Anna van der Breggen, and Wiebes. We're only 30 seconds back from that. Wiebes was able to end up in the chase group with Chabe. and I'm not going to lie, when she caught that group, I was like starting to root for a 1, 2, 3 because I have Vollering and Chabe.
Chabe, yeah.
And
God, that would be sick.
yeah, and Wiebes. So 8K to go. Cassia and Vollering had 45 seconds to that. It was a quality chasing group of Cousins, Chabe, Koch, Kat, Ferguson, AVB, Wiebes, and Gasparini. You want to talk about a bunch of really, really good riders.
And don't forget Swinkles and Paternoster as well. And Bosoit, I have a hard time pronouncing that name, but that woman, Shari Bosoit, she's really good, and she was animating in all these races. I think it was pretty plain though that like nobody's catching two former Tour de France winners with 45 seconds at 6 kilometers left in the race. That is not happening.
Not with the pace that they were running. And again, Demi seemed unfazed, and it definitely seemed like, especially going into the last 5, that Cassia was just trying to maintain because her, when she did take a turn, they were not like long, and she was not,
Well, and Demi was griping at her multiple times as they were running through there. And you know what? I give Cassia credit. Number one, she didn't pull a Cassia and lead out into the, lead out from 800 meters to go into the finish. I mean, she already knew she was going to get washed by Demi if they're sprinting anyways. I mean, I don't really think there was much of anything that she could do in this race. I mean, I think her best bet was to save, to sit in the slipstream for as long as she possibly can, and then like hope for something in the sprint. But when
I will say that going into the finish, I feel like she played it as good as she could.
She did. I mean, she made Demi lead out into the finish, and she was in Demi's slipstream. Demi started sprinting at like 150 meters to go or something like that. And Cassia stayed in her slipstream, but Demi just rode away from her. She was just faster. I mean, when you're in that situation, there's not a lot you can do.
Did you notice how their launch was damn near simultaneous at that point, where like Demi was, and she's not even looking back. That like awareness is to me is just nuts, where she's like, they're riding forward, they're right behind each other, and it's just that like tense moment of who's going to go first. And it's like almost like she hears her, clipping, push harder on the pedal or something, because they both, that launch happens almost simultaneously, and she's not even looking back. She doesn't see her do it. So she's got to hear something or feel something in that moment to denote to her to go ahead and take off. But
I thought she started first. I don't think her sprint was a reaction to Cassia. I thought it looked to me like she started first, but they did start almost simultaneously.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy because they were both kind of like, hovering, looking back, and that tense moment right before, and it was just so spot on, because I was looking for who was going to go first, and I can't tell who went first. It was that close.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know who reacted to who in that situation, but it's pretty amazing.
Did you happen to notice the salute that Demi gave when she won?
I guess I didn't. I mean, I definitely saw
She
it,
did.
but
She like sat up. She put both arms out to the side with the Zen, like her fingers like this. Like I'm Zen.
well,
I'm relaxed. I'm
that's
composed.
so her.
Yeah, that was like absolutely perfect. And on the I you gotta hand it to the ladies. Like on the podium, they're all just like so fun and happy. And like even though Kasia, just got beat and she could have had like a big thing to her added to her palmarès, she ends up second. But she's just like smiling and
Mhm.
they're playing around and doing selfies on the podium and stuff. Like it's just like such good sports. Um, yeah, your girl Weebus mops up the sprint for third, so you had to be happy about that.
Yeah, so
Ju-
those are the points that I ended up, having over you. So we both won. We both got a win, but the points wash because I got Weebus, or those points wash, but I did get Weebus's points. So I was able to gain back a little ground because you are definitely ahead of me.
So Weebus wins just ahead of Kat Ferguson. Franzi Koch comes in fifth, which gives FTJ a 1-5. Caroline Swinkles was in sixth, and Bossiet was in seventh. And so sort of similar fashion, Vanderpool gets his first win at Omloop, and Demi gets her first cobbled classic win at all. And that to me is a fairly big statement. That
Hmm.
that says like, Demi's already proven herself six ways from Sunday in the Ardennes. So for her to come out and make it happen in Belgium is a big moment for her.
I also think it's a don't don't count me out type situation because I don't think that she had the year last year that she wanted to have. I mean that's saying she did win a Grand Tour. So, but I don't, with her first year at the new team last year, I don't think that she had necessarily had the results that she wanted across the board. And so this is a great, moment for her to kind of, put a stamp on it and say, yeah, okay, we got this shit figured out and we're coming for you.
Yeah, and I mean she's having a hell of a season so far. I mean,
Hmm.
she's only had like four race days, I believe, and she's won three times in four race days. Because she took not only that, but she took two stages of Valenciana and the GC and the points jersey. Um, and now she's won Omloop. I mean, that's pretty sick. She's
Yeah.
she's she's raced 4 days and won three. So not a bad pick. You're getting a lot of production out of that one for sure.
Well, we got to get to the big races first. So it bodes well. Like a lot of my riders have ridden well in lesser races. So we got to see that the results come in the big races. So I got my fingers crossed. You know, I am metered. So you got anything else on that one?
I do not. Just that you gotta love Demi in the European champions jersey.
Hmm.
Looking good. It was cool how it was like Demi in the Euro champs jersey
And
versus
her in the
Kasia in the
Polish.
Polish
Yeah.
jersey. They were both in those like kind of white looking jerseys, and yeah,
Yeah, and look, all credit to Kasia. She hung in there. It was a tough race, and she was there all the way to the end. Demi never dropped her, so I do give her credit for that.
hmm
Whew, excuse me. All right, you want to move on to Kuurne-Brussels-Kuurne?
you're darn right I do.
um,
Although
so
there was not a whole lot of action in
yeah,
this race.
there's really not a lot of action in this race. My notes basically started
It's to be expected.
at
This is almost
12K. Yeah,
always yeah, this is almost always a sprint finish race. This is a
yeah.
sprinter's race. But I will say that like the final 5Ks of the run-in were pretty great. I mean, that was an exciting,
Yeah, it was a
run into a sprint
little
finish.
chaotic, little bit of everything going on there.
Some narrow roads, teams doing really well to kind of stay organized and stuff. You had obviously Lisa Bike there animating things, but Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe was in there for Jordi Mayus. You had Decathlon working hard for Lund Andresen. You had UAE there for Oliveira. NSM was in there for Hofstetter. So a lot could have happened, and a lot did happen in those last final final 5Ks. I don't know. Did you have some stuff from earlier than that?
My literal first note was 11:09. Was everything was together, and I more or less. I honestly just kind of sat there and watched the whole thing just unfold. I really wasn't taking a lot of notes. I was just trying to really lock in on because I knew it was going to be a sprint, so I was really waiting to see. And Visma was definitely controlling, especially kind of outside of the 5K, and then everything within. It seemed like there's a lot of jockeying, but then people moving around, and the tight roads definitely change the landscape of that sprint because it requires them to be ever vigilant. And I will say that if the team of Timo Kielich, Kielich and Laporte leading out for Brennan, and there's one other guy that I'm forgetting that's part of that that 4-man lead out that they had, and they did a really, really good job. And Christophe Laporte did a really, really great lead out.
He's the absolute MVP of the day, Laporte, no question about it, because like throughout all that chaos, those two were just locked together. And I mean, Brennan, it's really like he's just incredible. I mean, he races like someone with a lot more experience than he has. Like that guy can not only has he proven, last year in some of these like lesser races where he was not sent with like a big squad, they were just kind of like, yeah, go see what you can get out of it. I mean, he knows how to freelance a race at the end, but he stayed locked on Laporte's wheel. I mean, locked on the two of them. The other guys that they had were kind of here and there. It seemed like there was always sort of like one a little bit further ahead of him and one a little bit further behind him. But Laporte was just like, the shepherd. He was in the Wout van Aert Lost Children's role, just like shepherding Matty B. And I mean, the final lead out that he gave him was just ridiculous, like totally ridiculous. I mean, Laporte kept himself like third, fourth wheel throughout the last 3 kilometers of that thing. They never really moved anywhere away from the front. So they were staying safe out there in case there was a crash. And then like, boom, they hit about 500 meters to go. Laporte puts in like a huge turn and just pulls him straight to the front. And then
that was it.
Yeah, could not have put him in better position.
That was it. Because once Brennan launched, I mean, he was gone. I mean, there wasn't anybody that was close to him.
Yeah, 3 bike lengths, and he said in his interview, I had the easy part. He's like, Christophe took me. He's like, all I had to do was go hard for 100 meters, which is absolutely true. Yeah. And I mean, when you're a little guy like that, and you're able to take full advantage of that slipstream, and you got a guy like Christophe Laporte, just like a stone cold veteran, it bodes so well. And this is a team that we've spoken a lot about in the last several weeks here. With like, there's a lot going on at that team.
We're gonna talk more too. There's some stuff I didn't even really realize. So we're gonna talk more later. Yeah, stay tuned for segment 2 today.
Yeah, but Matty Brennan is arguably the biggest bright spot on that team right now, and this is to me a huge statement that he is like there. He's ready to go. He can mix it with the big guys. Visma Lease bike is very, very seriously lined up for, a sprint train. And I know that their focus is going to shift majorly come Grand Tour time. In fact, I don't even know that they're going to have any kind of like sprinting presence
Vuelta. It's
Brennan.
Vuelta. Brennan's going to the Vuelta.
Yeah, like I don't think Visma is going to have any kind of sprinting presence in the Tour this year, because it's all in for the win with Jonas and everything. But that will be cool seeing Matty B getting to do some Grand Tour sprinting. It'll also be nice. Like, it's a shame that Visma is so focused on the Tour, because like I'd love to see him at the Tour de France this year, but like they would have to split their team in terms of the focus, because you're not winning Tour de France stages without Tour de France sprints without a lead out. So it seems a shame, but
no,
this is
cycling. UAE is going to have a hard time with with the classics and the monuments. So for Pogačar, because he has two big names that are just not going to be there in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. No Narvaez, and then he just lost Wellens, right?
Yeah, Wellens collarbone.
Yeah. I mean, that's massive. So,
Huge.
but for Matty Brennan, the next couple of weeks are going to be a whole lot of fun because he's going to MSR. He's going to in Flanders Fields.
Yep.
He's going to Dwarsdor. He's going to the Ronde. He's going to Paris-Roubaix.
I think if they bring this same team to Dwarsdor, I think that you could easily see them win that.
And they'll definitely be looking for some redemption from last year.
Yes, they will.
Yes, they will. 3 of them got washed by Nilsson Palace. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was pretty great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the heck out of it. That is
Tudor ends up with a 2-3, so they get Masato and Trentin.
The old man Trenton still just snagging podiums and stuff. Yeah. So that's Matty B's second win of the year. He's also got 2 second places this year on like 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 race days. And this win came after a crashed out DNF on Omloop the day before. So props to him for that as well. You know, like he's going to crash out of Omloop, get his head back together, dust himself off, and next day, boom, he's right there for the win.
Certainly did not seem like he was affected.
Right. And I believe there was like 1.2 seconds in his interview where there was a smile on his face. So, progress. Because he is a very, very straightforward, serious young man.
Yes, he is.
So, also, as we mentioned earlier, Luke Lamperti grabbing 9th place, 2 top 10s on opening weekend. And, that's got to be a bright spot for EF, because I feel like Lamperti can be valuable in stage racing and climbs and stuff like that as well. So
yeah,
nice to see that, and he's an American boy.
You got it. Well, on that note, why don't we take a break? We can come back. We got 4 other races that I'd like to go over and touch on, and then I definitely have some news and notes. So that may actually make for a long segment on the next one. So why don't you guys stay with us? We'll be right back, and we'll be talking more weekend racing.
Don't miss Beyond the Slipstream, our weekly companion podcast to the Team Bus, our domestique, if you will, dropping every Saturday in your usual podcast feed.
Welcome back. We are going to jump into the Faun Ardèche Classic. This was, at least for me, one of the more exciting races for my weekend. I don't know how you felt about it. I mean, it's kind of a similar result to Saturday, but
it wasn't exciting in terms of like, the finish.
No.
But it was exciting when you contextualize it, in terms of the season
and what it means. Yes.
Yeah.
So 45K to go. You had Paul Seychelles, Matteo Jorgensen, Bernal, and Martinez, and Roman Gregoire, all in a group on the front.
And Jan Christian.
Oh yeah, you know what? I'm sorry, I did have him here, Jan Christian as well. And then and it seemed like Matteo and Paul Seychelles are the ones that are pushing the tempo, and they are pushing the tempo hard, especially Seychelles.
Yeah, when it starts getting really steep, it's like Christian, Jorgensen, Lenny, that's it. Like those are the only guys that can hang and the only names that really mean anything for the remainder of the race, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
By 44Ks, Seychelles and Matteo are kind of clear of the others, but that doesn't last very long either.
No. So Seychelles ends up dropping Matteo. And did you? I know that I sent it to you on Instagram. I don't know. Did you see the exact moment when he drops him and he's literally like taking a drink out of his water bottle with one hand on the handlebars, and
No, I missed that.
he rides Mateo off the wheel. Like,
Crazy.
it didn't even seem like he was trying.
Yeah. This bodes so well for French cycling.
Oh man. Well, but it also bodes well for us because this was a very Pogacar-esque type win. I mean, this is what we've been watching Tadej Pogacar do to races for the last 3 years. All right, where he waits until it gets tough. He puts in what seems like no effort whatsoever to drop, quality racers, and goes away for 40 Ks on his own, just time trialing his way to a victory. And it's exactly what, Paul Seychelles did. And I mean, we've been talking about Paul Seychelles now for a little over a year, and he won the what's the French race, the one that's like the big precursor for everybody, the Tour of Avenir. And, it's like every rider that's won the Tour of Avenir has gone on to do great things. And it's like, here we go. Already we're starting to see the results.
Yep, for sure. He should be commended also for the downhilling that he did. He seems like another one of these guys that just like has spent his entire life on a bike. He's just very calm, very confident. He does not have that same seriousness that Brennan has, it seems like. Although I will say, as he was rolling into the finish last couple of Ks, like he was constantly checking behind him. The camera bike pulls up alongside of him. He gives away nothing. I mean, he's a minute and a half ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he was so far
with
ahead.
Like
they
1.2 kilometers to go. No one's catching him. The camera bike rolls up beside him, and that's usually, in that situation, almost every rider looks at the bike, they give a thumbs up, a smile, yeah, way to go. Nothing. Finally the bike pulls behind him, and it catches the team car coming up on him, which was kind of cool because you got to see the camera bike pulls behind. The team car pulls up in front, and they're together, and then the camera bike pulls up alongside Seychelles again, so you could see the team director in the car. And I mean, that guy was like ebullient, in there, just like and right as the car drove up, Seychelles gave a little fist like that. So that is all that he gave away during that part. But
he also might not have realized what the gap was. You know what I mean? He might, you never know.
He 100% knew what the freaking gap was. There's no, unless his radio wasn't working or something like that, but otherwise he definitely would have known what that gap was. I think it was more a function of him, it being his first like really big win. And kind of, well, I guess it wouldn't be, I guess I'd put this on the same level as what he got, as the win he got last week in Algarve. But, still, first big 1-day race. He's in France. Like it's a huge moment for him. And he's probably just like, don't let anything happen. Just stay cool, man. Don't do anything. Don't do anything stupid. So, and once he was in the finishing straight, he was able to just like really enjoy himself. I mean, it was a fairly long finishing straight, and there was nobody that was even going to be in that shot behind him. Like he had all day long. When he first got on there, he gave this little like move like this where he just like sweeps his hand, like puts his head down. Yeah, this bodes really well. I mean, we're looking at Strada Bianca, Basque Country, Flèche Wallonne, and LBL, and especially in Flèche Wallonne, like I cannot wait to see what happens with my man in Flèche Wallonne. I think he's like perfect for Flèche.
Yes,
so
I agree. Jan Christian got second, Lenny Martinez got third, Matteo Jorgensen got fourth, and our boy Skelly Skelmos took fifth.
Skelly in fifth. I thought it was funny. Christian, I don't know if it was complete like fake out moves or whatever, but he seemed to be yo-yoing in those final kilometers with the other two guys, and he would like kind of fall off and then come back and fall off and come back, and then like within the last like 2 kilometers, I would say he like at one point came back, and then he just like all of a sudden put in this like really fast attack. You're like, oh, you're thinking, oh wow, he just managed to get back, and it's like, oh no, he's attacking them. But he attacked again like that, but they covered him both times. But he played. I mean, he was definitely favored for the sprint. I was surprised to see Lenny get past Matteo Jorgensen, but I think Matteo was kind of done by then.
Mm-hmm. Well, he tried to stay with Seychelles as long as he could, and he just couldn't do it. And he was easily the second strongest, climby rider in that race that day. But he had another, Seychelles had another level. Like, I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and I think he's gotten his first wins now at a younger age than Pogacar had his first wins. Of
Yeah,
course,
I mean, he's only 19.
But I think Pogacar
was 20.
But his first 2 wins were like Vuelta stage wins or something like that. So, and then the very next year, I think he won the Tour de France. So, we'll see how that goes. But some other stuff I just wanted to note. Really sweet moment after the finish. Seychelles comes in, he stops, he's talking to his team people, he puts on a coat, but you can see him like scanning the nearby crowd, and all of a sudden he spots his parents. This guy still lives at home with his parents. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Spots his parents and makes a beeline over for them and gives his mom this like huge hug. And I was noticing there was like, we were seeing the helicopter shot of it from above, and there was a scrum of photographers like kind of off to the left of Seychelles, and then there was somebody that was behind his mom on the other side of the fence with a giant French flag, and from where the French flag was waving, and then he was hugging his mom, and then the location of the photographers, someone's got a picture of Paul Seychelles hugging his mom with like the French flag like billowing in the back, and I want to see that picture. It looked really, really cool. Happy to see Bernal sliding in 7th. That bodes well, and his Colombian champions jersey is super cool. It's like all white, but it's got like a red sleeve and a yellow sleeve. It looks pretty cool.
I need to notice that. I didn't really pick up on it.
Yeah, with some blue highlights on there. It's nice. So, very exciting. This is just, that confirmation that we were talking about in the intro, that this guy is real deal.
He is the real deal. There's no doubt
he's
about
proven
that.
it. I mean, he beat Juan Ayuso in a uphill sprint finish last week, and now long range solo over a bunch of hitters, including the 2-time winner of Paris-Nice. This is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see where it all goes this year for him, because this is going to be a big tell. And then, I mean, if he just continues to get better and better and better, I mean, you're definitely going to see him competing for a Grand Tour,
Yeah, and with a couple of domestiques like Felix Gall and who is it? Valentin Paripantra.
Yeah, that team is. Yeah,
he's got some weapons.
Stacked.
Yep.
So it'll be very interesting. It'll be very, very interesting. All right, you want to move on to the Faun Classic?
Yes, where we saw lots of the same names that we saw in the Faun Ardèche Classic. They kind of feel like, feels like a 2-day stage race almost.
It does.
Because they're like, I think, right across the river from each other, the two parcours, and basically all the same dudes. You got Matteo and Jan Christian and Lenny Martinez and Skelmos and some other guys. Ben Healy, Tullett was in there.
So again, there wasn't a ton going on. I did make a note at 9. Like, how much of this race did you actually watch?
I don't know, from like 30 Ks to go, I think.
Okay. So at 9K, there was one of the most amazing spring scenes. Like, it was just a shot. It was like this field with these, like, purple, spring flowers in it. It was just like
Yeah. Jess
utterly
Cox
beautiful.
was like making a lot of commentary about that, about like how like just like perfect it was for the time of year and everything. They must
Uh,
be growing like tulips or something out there or something,
yeah, I don't know what they
or
were, but they were these
lavender.
like,
Maybe it was
these
lavender or
like
something.
pinkish, you know, purple flowers that were just amazing.
Yeah, it was quite beautiful.
You had at 8.7, you had Jorgensen and Gregoire. They were off the front by like 20 seconds, and it pretty much is this the whole way in.
Yeah, they had already gotten away with like 17 kilometers to go. Benoit Cosnefroy was like trying as hard as he could to bridge the gap, but he couldn't get across. Quinn Simmons put in a dig trying to get across, couldn't get across. Um, but it got real weird in the finish, in the final kilometer,
Where they
because
literally almost got caught.
yeah, I really could not believe that they were sitting up right then and there. I mean, they easily had enough of a gap to get to the finish on their own. And
So,
I don't know if Mateo just didn't back himself and was like, I'm done. Like,
okay.
I'm gonna.
So I look at it in two ways. I wonder if Mateo knew. I mean, because it's clear to me that like between the two of these guys, Gregoire's probably going to beat him in the sprint.
Gregoire, let's not forget, was last year's winner of Faun Ardèche.
Um,
So he's already proven that he can compete in this, this time of year in these races.
so I don't know if it's Mateo knows that he's got his number and he's trying to kind of outgame him, or if maybe it was Gregoire thinking that maybe he Mateo had a little more in the tank. I don't know, dude, but they almost fafoed and completely botched the end of the race between the two of them.
Yeah, I
And
mean, basically with like 400 meters to go, they were still in front, but Mateo seemed to be just kind of stagnating while Gregoire was at least still seemed to be trying to maintain, whereas it looked like Mateo was kind of slowing down. And right behind him, here comes Martinez and Scaroni. Um, and Gregoire senses them coming and immediately accelerates. And Mateo just doesn't seem to have an answer. And yet, like by his body language, and yet somehow he still manages to stay ahead of those two guys. Like it was weird. It was a weird finish, like
yeah,
how that played out. Exciting.
very exciting because when you got the head-on shot, you were like, "Oh my god, the peloton is right there."
Hmm.
Like screaming down their necks, and so Gregoire took first, Mateo took second, Letty Martinez took third.
So if you're Mateo Jorgensen, do you walk away from this weekend pleased with a second and a fourth? Um, how are you feeling? Like because he's not doing Paris Nice, right? Jonas Vingegaard is going to Paris Nice, I believe. Is it?
Well, they were both at Paris Nice last year, but
They were?
yeah,
Oh, that's
and
right. That's right.
Vingegaard crashed out.
That's right.
Um, I don't know, man. It's so weird with Mateo because I keep expecting him to take the next step and like win some of these races, and then he doesn't seem to win these types of races.
Yeah, he's not going to Paris Nice this year. He's going to
He's more
Torino.
classics focused, right?
Well, he's going to Torino. So he's doing
Oh, okay.
Strada. He's doing Strade, Torino, and then MSR, and then the Ardennes, and then Tour de Suisse, Tour de France. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, no racer is happy when they get second place or stuff like that. But like, uh, I would say a second and a fourth over that weekend is not too bad. Um,
No, not at
there, I'd
all. Lenny
say,
Martinez takes 2/3.
yeah, and Jan Christian did pretty well in both of them.
Yeah.
So he's right there and in the mix. And hopefully he'll have leadership at Tirreno Adriatico, since Jonas is going to Paris Nice, and he's certainly capable of winning a stage race. He's done it before
I will
3
say
times.
that I agree with something that Benji Nason said on their recap is that I wish these races were a little more spread out. Like there was a bunch of like multiple races going on at the same time this
Hmm.
weekend, and I don't know why one of these couldn't be on Friday.
For sure. I mean, we're both do one Thursday, one Friday.
Yeah, like it
You know
just
what I
it
mean?
doesn't
Then
make a
then we
lot of
got like four straight days, and there's not so much to try to cram in on the weekend. I mean, it's just he said, like it's because the organizers want to do it on the
yeah.
weekend.
I
That's
know.
like they're going to get better turnout. I mean, it's understandable, but it sure would be nice if they did it the other way. I agree.
All right. So why don't we jump into the Phoenix Ekoi Omloop von Het Hageland,
Yep.
winner of the longest name for a race this year.
Yeah, that is quite quite a mouthful. Well, this one is sort of like the ladies' analog to
The Faun Ardèche.
no to
Oh,
Kuurne-Brussels-Kuurne.
yeah. Sorry.
It's like their sprinters classic that happens opening weekend. I don't know why they don't have a KBK, but they have Omloop van het Hageland. So I saw none of this race except for the finish. I like you. I watched
Hmm.
the last minute and a half in French
Yes.
uh, to see Charlotte Cole get her first win of the year.
Yep. Laura Gillespie in second, and then Sherry. How do you say it? Basut.
Basoit, yeah.
Uh, got third. So she had a great weekend. Basut.
Yeah, yeah, she's good. I was trying to remember which race it was last year towards the end of the year that she kind of really, really was doing big things. But she's real good at the end of the season last year. So definitely
Ajax got
a name.
seventh. Allison Jackson.
I did not
Inter
realize that.
Inter Canadian jersey.
Yeah, well, this is Charlotta Cole has got to be feeling good about this. I mean, yeah, she wasn't up against Lorena Vibas, who completely washed her 2 weeks ago in the UAE Women's Tour, um, where she could only manage eighth was the best finish she got in UAE. But hey, back here on European territory, she came good, and I'm sure that'll be a big motivation for her. I'm happy for her.
All right.
The two-time Tour de France stage winner.
All right. So, and I'm going to quickly just do a quick recap of the Tour of Rwanda. Definitely want to, take a couple of minutes to highlight this race. It's mostly a Devo race. I mean, you have a lot of development teams. But, with the World Championships in Kigali last year, we noticed how beautiful it was. And sadly, there's no English broadcast, but,
They get really good crowds.
I do like if this could be a 2.0 Pro or UCI definitely needs to step it up with this race and try to get some bigger names, rolling down there. I really think that it'd be worthwhile. So, all right, I'm gonna real quick. I got a little tidbit for each day. So day one was marred by a traffic accident when a vehicle from the caravan actually veered off the road and hit several spectators. 2 dead, 6 injured.
And it was a vehicle from the caravan.
Hmm.
Wow, that is a real shame.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Winner on the day was NSN Devo team rider Idemar Einhorn. Third place went to Biniam's little brother, Mawale Girmay, who
Holy
rides.
cow, I did
Yeah.
not know Biniam had a little bro. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Rides for the Istanbul team.
After Jonathan Milan's little bro catching a podium place with Big Bro,
Yeah,
and
right.
now
Right.
Biniam's got like all the sprinters have the bros. I love it.
All right. Also, go to my notes because there's going to be something I want you to see here. Day 2 was won by Pal Marti, also from the NSN Devo team. Day 3 was won by Jurgen Zomermond from the Picnic Post NL Devo team. Day 4 saw Sudal Devo team rider Matthias de Klerk won from the breakaway. Day 5, Jermaine Zemke wins the bunch sprint on stage 5 after NSN bossed the front till the end of the race. The Team Eritrea kits, I put a picture in there, are dope.
Yeah, those are cool. I like
And then
those.
it looks like they must have the Eritrean rider as well on their
You
team.
mean like the national champion?
Yeah, the national champion.
Yeah.
Day 6 saw Itamar Einhorn from the NSN Devo team win again. Finley Tarling, all right, Josh's younger brother, came in second.
Finley.
Yeah. Day 7 saw Enrique Bravo from the Sudal Devo team win with Lucas Van Gils second, and the Eritrean team rider Hanak Malabran, all right, came in third. Day 8 saw Hanak Malabran, this is the final day, from the Eritrean team actually win that stage.
Really?
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Exactly. Well, hold on. It gets better for him. So the GC went to NSN Devo rider Moritz Kretschke, and then the points went to Hanak Malabran. The KOM went to Miguel Heidman. The young rider was Duarte Marovet, and the team was Lotto Grupo Wanti. But just a mere 2.5 minutes behind was the Eritrean team, so they almost were able to take the team classification as well. So pretty cool.
That's very cool.
Yep. Okay, I want to jump into something that I was unaware of, but makes this whole Team Visma thing even weirder. How have we not talked about 23-year-old Fem Van Empel retiring?
I don't know.
Okay.
Let's talk about it.
So, and listen to this. This is a direct quote from her. The motivation and the enjoyment I've had are missing. All right. Who does that sound like? Also, a retired Visma rider.
Yeah, Yates. Now, how closely aligned are like the men's and women's squads? This is one of the teams where they're kind of all part of the same.
Yeah, I
big
mean,
group,
they definitely
right?
share a race course, and I'm sure that there's a lot of overlap with these two teams. So, if we remember, all right, a lack of motivation and a desire to spend more time with family was what Yates said. All right, what Simon Yates said about retiring. So, you're telling me that two people from the same team retired in January, citing the exact same thing?
Yeah, it's weird.
All right, she's 23 years old, has the world, in front of her, and she's a damn good rider.
Isn't she? She's a cyclocross person.
Yes.
Is she retiring from cross as well?
That is a great question that I don't know the answer to. But it was definitely from road cycling for sure. I feel like I seen her on a podium in the last in a cyclocross race not that long ago. But again, with the abrupt departure of Simon Yates and apparently the abrupt retirement of Fem Van Empel, what's going on at Visma? Like,
It's weird. It's really weird.
Now, and again, you couple these two things with, all right, Tej and Kian both citing that the training there was the training, quote unquote. In the same year, you lose Van Barl, Coy, Benut, and Ken Uterbrooks and more. And it's like, is there something dark brewing at the center of Team Visma? Like, what? Like,
It's very strange.
It's like all these riders depart, they don't re-sign, and these are not like they're not. I mean, like, okay, Van Barl, you could see, like, they're not, the classics focus for Visma's in a different place, so you could see him leaving. You see one or two of them. Ken Uterbrooks never really gets, blossoms into what I thought he would with that team. It seems like Mateo really ends up taking that secondary leadership role. So, one or two of them, Coy, big sprinter, gets a big contract. They have a great sprinter behind. So, I mean, you can you can say okay with these guys, but Tisha Benut's been a soldier for that team for years. All right, part of winning teams for Grand Tours, and so I don't know, man. It seems very, very suspect to me that you know it seems like something's going on there that's being squashed down to where you don't really know what it is, but it's like it certainly seems like a smoke fire situation, and it's like where there's smoke, what are we doing? So
The the word from Lisa Bike's news page puts it as in she um she wants to take a step back to focus on her mental well-being and manage some physical situations. Um, she is not focusing on road cycling, and says at least they say that she intends to work towards a return to cyclocross at the start of the cyclocross season. Um, and the quote that they have on their website site is, "This feels like the right step for me now." So
I don't
I
know,
don't know.
with the doping out, the underscore of doping, running through the pro ranks right now with the Mark Soler stuff, and the questions about Yates, abrupt retirement, her apparently abrupt retirement, just makes me wonder.
Yeah. It's just the continuing saga. We just keep getting more and more little tidbits and stuff here. So yeah, watch the space.
Yeah. So that was my big thing. Obviously, you had mentioned earlier that Nielsen Palace underwent knee surgery, so he is out for the classics.
Yeah, that blows.
Yeah, but it sounds like the surgery was successful. So, bright spots,
Sure.
and especially considering like. You figure you do, if you need to have knee surgery, if it's successful, it could mean it doesn't necessarily, these days, those types of things are not, they're not, death knells to your career.
Hmm.
So, do you have any, did you gather any news and notes this week?
No.
All right, well then why don't we take a quick break, and we will come back and take a ride in the Broom Wagon. All right, stay with us. We'll be right back. I'll take that pause out. Are you ready to go? Mine is not very long. I don't know what you have.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's do it. We got 10 minutes left
Yeah.
in this session. Let's just knock this out.
Perfect. All right, we're back. Matt, what do you got for the Broom Wagon?
I saw an interesting article that I just wanted to throw in because it introduced an idea that I have not hitherto really uh, been aware of, and I'd be interesting to get your reaction to it. So,
Sure.
um, in Omloop, as we just discussed at length a little while ago, we had Vanderpool making his big move on the Mur, and he was right behind Vermeersch, and then Tim Van Dyke kind of glommed on with them, right? Um, so, and then the three of them kind of rode together until Vanderpool got ahead of those two, and then he finished solo, and they came in pretty shortly behind
Mm-hmm.
him. Um, so Van Dyke, when he managed to stay with them, was just barely managing to hang on, but he somehow by his fingertips stuck with them. Um, and they were together as a trio for a while. Van Dyke had his brother Mick and Jordy Mayos behind him, and so team tactics, race director on the radio, okay, sit on. You got two guys behind you. That's cut and dried. Nobody can get mad at you for those kind of tactics. That's as old tale as old as time. Um, so as they're getting into their breakaway there, Vermeersch and Van der Poel are basically doing all the work, and Van Dijk is sitting on. Um, a commentator pointed out something interesting at the finish. So Van der Poel comes in, he comes to it, goes crosses the finish line, comes to a stop near his team people and stuff. And he's kind of turned and looking down the road for the other guys coming in. And Van Dijk comes rolling up first, and he's kind of looking at Van der Poel and got a little bit of a smile on his face, like he's going to go in and do a congrats. And Van der Poel looks down and I think makes no eye contact with him whatsoever and gives him some body language. And Van Dijk just keeps right on rolling. And then as soon as Vermeersch comes up, Van der Poel goes straight up to him, gives him a hug. Good job, bro. And
you think it's because he did no work?
It's definitely because he didn't do any work. And the point that this commentator made, which I haven't really thought of, but he said that guys like Van der Poel and Tadej Pogačar, who exist in a more purified racing state than most mere mortals, they always work. They never sit on in a group. And there are allegiances and there's etiquette that exists race to race, but then there's a higher level of etiquette. And if you are in a break with one of the all-time greats, you work. End of story. In their mind, if you're in a break with me, you freaking work, because I'm Matthew Van der Poel. I'm one of the greatest of all time. You work. If you're not going to work, don't even think about riding up to me and getting a fist bump or a congratulations. Nah, sorry. And I haven't really thought about that. I don't. I mean, do I agree that it's a thing that exists or that it should be that way?
That it should be that way.
Absolutely. I think if you're Van der Poel or Pogačar, you have earned respect. Even Evenepoel, you have earned a level of respect that if that person finds himself in a breakaway, and I can't fault Tim Van Dijk.
No,
race director's on his radio telling him, you got two guys behind, you need to sit on.
What if he was just struggling to maintain?
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Who knows? But it is interesting that Van der Poel snubbed him so hard like that. But it's these dynamics, these Peloton dynamics are interesting. So thought I'd mention it. What do you got?
So one of my new favorite YouTube things is the GCN tech. Mm-hmm. There's GCN Tech is another channel they have. Low Rent Hugh Jackman was at the UAE tour. All right. So he did a
Dan Lloyd.
I know
His name is Dan Lloyd.
Dan Lloyd. He did a video on the hottest time trial bike tech at the UAE tour, and it's super interesting. I'll link it in the description if you're interested, but I threw in some pictures for you to look at of this isn't Pidcock's bike. This is another racer on Pinarello. Look at this Pinarello time trial bike.
Yeah,
this thing is not just sick as hell.
That bike is nasty, and I bet you if you you could lift that thing up with one finger.
Oh, dude, this thing, I mean, it's gorgeous. I mean, it's
so rad.
A beautiful bike in every way, on the forks with the little gold accents on the forks and the gold lettering. And I know that you were not crazy hyped on this jersey, but I mean, that jersey, this bike, ooh,
the color scheme is really nice. That blue and gold that deep navy with the gold, that looks really good. No doubt about it, for sure. I mean, I still, it's just as far as the jersey goes, it just lacks an image or something. It's just words on a background. That's my beef with
logo.
it.
I see where you're coming from.
This bike is super gorgeous. These Pinarellos have this they have this look to them that's almost like it's like brutalist art. It looks like it looks like something you'd see in front of a government building in downtown DC or something like that. It's got that kind of like sweeping like brutalist look to it. It's so badass.
Yeah, but it's super interesting video. You get to see a bunch of different cool time trial bikes. But that's really it. So
make sure you drop a link into the notes if you have not already.
I will.
Oh, there it is. Yeah,
I have the link there. We just need to
I'll put it in. I'll put it in.
All right. That's all for this week, folks. Join us next week for full coverage of the first monument of the season. Okay, technically it's not a monument, but most fans call Strada Bianchi the sixth monument. We consider it a monument, and with good reason, because it almost always serves up great racing and a great finish, last year's notwithstanding. We'll also discuss a couple of lesser one-day races, and we'll have a little taste of the opening of Paris-Nice as well. Until then, for my brother Matt, I'm Justin Harper. Thanks for listening. We hope you'll join us again soon for another ride on the team bus. Allez.
Allez.
The Team Bus is a production of Harperama. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Please like and subscribe, smash that button, leave a 5-star review, and most importantly, tell all your friends about us. Thanks for listening. Talk to you next time. Allez!